Philip and I were just arguing before the show. There's not a species of horse that's a total jerk. So, like, name a horse species that's not completely stuck up, rude. And
I'm going to have to call your mom for this.
Every species of horse is so pretentious, right?
Let me tell you about the one that's not.
Even what's the hybrid? What's the mule?
Shoot up. Let's just leave that down.
Just leave it down.
That thing.
That's fine. God, that scared me. Even the mule is rude, you know? And a mule's a donkey and a horse, right?
It is.
So have you ever seen a mule that's grateful?
I have not.
I've never seen a mule be grateful or thankful. And they're just in a fence, they're in a pasture full of
Maybe
green.
That's why.
Because they're excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm giving you a safe zone to exist in with all this green freaking food that grows on the ground for you.
Oh, man.
Could you not show a little bit of gratitude?
Oh,
There's not a species of horse that's not absolutely pretentious and too big for their britches. Golly. Anyway, today on the show, we've got Adam Lazzara. And Adam Lazzara is the frontman for a band called Taking Back Sunday. And they are still a band because they don't have it. They do not have Sunday. And as soon as they catch it, and they've been on the road, they've been in the studio, they've been playing shows, and as soon as they catch Sunday, I think the band is done, right?
Man, yeah.
But luckily for these guys, they're still making albums. They're still making killer songs. They're still putting out killer shows. They're on tour right now with My Chemical Romance, and we got a chance to catch up with Adam in the arena in Las Vegas. And don't ask me what arena it is because it's Las Vegas. And the only thing I know about Las Vegas is that Southwest changes a lot of their flights there. I have a lot of layovers in Las Vegas, and that's about the only reason I go to Las Vegas. Why? Because I'm a 30-year-old father, and I just don't go. What do you got about Las Vegas? You been to Vegas, Philip?
I thought he said Los Angeles.
No, he's in Las Vegas. That's why we were talking about the Killers.
That makes sense. Okay, yeah. No, nothing in Las Vegas. I don't have anything in Las Vegas. No.
You don't have anything in Las Vegas? That was literally not the question.
I don't ever get rerouted to there. I don't
Philip,
what's the question? Ask me the question again.
Do you have anything in Las Vegas? Because that's what you answered.
I have no reason to
have you ever been to Las Vegas? And you said,
I've never
I don't
been there.
have anything in Las Vegas.
We have touched down in Las Vegas once. The Walrus Audio.
Like your football team?
That was it, yeah. The football
you had a
team.
touchdown in Las Vegas?
Yeah, we had one touchdown, 2 field goals. No, we had a layover there.
That sounds appropriate.
Walrus Audio, yeah.
Yeah, I was with you.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Where were we going?
Let's
remember.
Where were we going? We were going to NAM.
Yeah, we used to have this guy who used to work here, and I remember he was on this trip. And how much money did he blow on slots?
A couple hundred.
Yeah,
we were there for like 30 or 40 minutes.
He got a beer at like 9 a.m. also, and so,
man.
But yeah. Good times.
Sweet guy, though. Sweet.
Okay, so we've got Adam Lazzara from Taking Back Sunday, and I really kind of regret not putting that question as one of the questions that we asked him. But we asked him some really good questions. The thing about Adam is
the horse question. Is that what you're referring to?
No, about catching Sunday, about taking it back, and if they're ever going to take it back, or maybe you know what? Maybe it's a thing where they have Sunday, and they are constantly trying to get it back to wherever it came from. You know?
Oh, that's probably it.
Maybe they have it. See, and if I were Taking Back Sunday, that's what I would do. I would have Sunday in my possession because then I have control over how long the band lasts.
Yeah.
You know?
That's really good.
So that's really, that's probably where that came from. We didn't ask him where the band name came from either. So, but we don't have to because I know. And you're welcome, internet and Spotify. I just told you where it came from. So the reason why he's so interesting and why I like him so much is because we know him through the albums. We know him through the songs, but there's a lot more going on behind the curtains. He's a brilliant thinker, and he's a brilliant and very intentional creative. While at the same time, a very considerate person. So there's a happiness index, right? And how grateful you are for your experiences, where you are, what you have. immediately plays into how happy you are, how happy your life is. The more entitled you feel, and the more like you are frustrated that you don't have things, like just the least happy that you are. Adam's a person that walks around with a lot of gratitude, and a lot of context for, kind of where it comes from. And so I really enjoyed this conversation.
It's amazing.
Yeah. What was your favorite part? No, I don't say it because I want people to just listen to it. All right. So before we get into that, though, we got to do band names. Band names. I'm dropping some bombs on you today. You're going to hate my band name.
Well, then I'm going first.
Okay. Well, first of all, I could go first today, but just remember that these band names are trademarked by us, and if you want to use them and you use them without asking, we'll sue you. But if you do want to use them, all you got to do is email us, and then it can be yours. And we might even send you a free T-shirt if you name a band after one of these band names that are listed on the podcast. Maybe more than a T-shirt.
Maybe.
Yeah, I might send you my monoprice tuner that's sitting on my luthier bench in my office.
Yeah. Luthier bench. That's a pretentious sentence. It's bench. Sitting on my luthier bench.
It's from Harbor Freight.
Behind my adjustable desk.
You can't say Harbor Freight. Okay, are you ready?
I can't say it. Wow,
you can't say Harbor Freight. Yeah, you're gonna get axed. All right, band names, go.
All right. This week we have Derivative Flow. Mm-hmm. The Derivative Flow is
sounds like a calculus band.
Yeah, what kind of band do you think they are? See if you can nail it.
So I'm not a Latin speaking person, but if I did speak Latin and I knew the origins of derivative, whether it was from language or from mathematics, I'd be able to speak into it more. But I believe it sounds like a math rock band because derivative is straight out of calculus.
You would think that. But it's actually a Southern hip-hop trap group. Yes.
Southern hip-hop trap group.
They just released an album called Trigonometry.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's real good. They're from Atlanta.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's a really good. Yeah.
That one's gonna get. We're gonna be sending some T-shirts for that one. I know.
I mean, I would co-sign that record deal. Boom! Somebody do the pun alarm.
What's the pun alarm?
Cosine.
Okay.
Cosine, sine, secant.
I get it. Yeah.
Tangent.
I gotcha.
Oh my gosh.
Radian.
Dude, did you take trigonometry?
I just said radian, man.
Did you take trigonometry?
I did not
what's
take
the last
trigonometry.
Math you took?
Math 1. I don't know. That was 15 years ago.
How do you not remember? I
know I didn't take trig.
You didn't take trig?
No.
Where are you from? Weatherford? Weatherford. Everybody's smart from Weatherford.
People are smart from Weatherford.
I know. Tom Stafford's from Weatherford.
Some people aren't good at math is surprising. Just like randomly sprinkled in there. And that would be me. Some people are not good at math, surprisingly.
Oh, comma, surprisingly. Gotcha.
Comma,
hey,
surprisingly.
Do you have anything in Las Vegas?
I have never stored clothing nor furniture in Las Vegas.
Okay, so my band name is, get ready for it, Haley's Comet Open House. Oh, Haley's Comet Open House. Because, I got really fixated on the idea when I was thinking of band names, and I was thinking of, like, how tight would it be to, first of one, to own a Comet, and then two, to be trying to sell a Comet right now.
Oh, that's what this is. It's like an open house to see the Comet.
Like, yeah, come see my Comet for sale. Like, come check it out. It's like it's huge. It's like 12 bedroom, 15 bath, sauna, all that kind of stuff. Haley's Comet Open House.
Dude, Hail Bop Open House.
Yeah, I saw I would have done Hail Bop, but Hail Bop's not coming by for a long time. Mm-hmm. I mean, we got a long time, but that was a really special thing in 98. Yeah. Was that 98?
I couldn't tell you. It was in the 90s.
It was 97. I think Hail Bop was 97. I just remember like driving to Colorado on a ski trip and I looking in the sky. I mean, like, that is a missile, and it wasn't. It was a comet. Okay, so Haley's Comet Open House, they are kind of like big band in their 70s. They're from the 70s. And their first album is called Mr. and Mrs. President. And they are on tour with the Electric Light Orchestra. They're on tour with ELO.
Oh man, I'll be there.
That's kind of that,
I'll be
that
there,
vibe.
yeah.
So it kind of makes sense, you know? Like
it does.
Haley's Comet Open House, where you could get away with like very large band names back in the day. But you really can't anymore, because now we're out of trademarks, and then 2, that's why we're using like the alternative keyboards for band names. Like people have triangles in their band names now. You know what I mean?
Oh, they do. Yeah.
I'd like to see a band that has an emoji in their band name. So there's got to be somebody on Spotify that has in the band name, there's an emoji from the keyboard. There's got to be, right?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know if that's
like the thumbs up emoji. You know,
that's just setting yourself up for failure.
What?
You can't be found.
Me looking for that, or somebody naming their band that?
No, the person naming their band that.
Yeah.
Setting themselves up.
First question: do you have anything like in Las Vegas?
Yeah, I do actually.
You have anything? Okay.
I recently got some
that's probably that's my favorite thing that's happened this whole week. Have you ever been to Las Vegas? No, I don't have anything in Las Vegas.
I'm saying I don't have any reason to go to Las Vegas.
Okay, without further ado, let's get Adam here. Everybody, Adam Lazzara from Taking Back Sunday right now. All right. Hey,
go on.
That's fantastic. Welcome to the podcast. We've got Adam Lazzara from Taking Back Sunday.
Yeah.
On our podcast. Adam, where are you, man?
Thank you for having me.
Where are you?
We are at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay.
Today.
And are you are you there for an NBA game? Are you there for a basketball game? A WNBA game?
No, I'm here for that Jeff Dunham, the puppet guy. I love puppet comedy.
Dude, no, I've heard that show is off the chain. You're going to love it, man. It looks like you got there early.
It's like funny because my roommate for years, he does merch for touring folks. You know, he's with like Shawn Mendes right now, but he did Jeff Dunham for like years. And the stories that he would have were just so great. But
I can't believe you pulled out Jeff Dunham that fast.
That was fast.
This is great.
I was like, wait, maybe he's being serious, Colt. Maybe you should chill out.
I'm actually pretty impressed with myself also.
You kept a straight face.
But no, like we hopped on some of the My Chemical Romance shows, and this is one of them.
Dude,
okay, cool.
That's epic.
You know, so we're all on the same page. Profile your band for me as if I've never heard of you guys. Like, what's going on in Taking Back Sunday? What are the ingredients, and what does it taste like?
Tastes like smooth butter, baby. No, we are a loud rock and roll band, and that's how I always describe us. There's a lot of people that I think would have some other things to say, but that's how I've always thought about us.
Yeah.
And that's like if anybody asks, you know, like you call up an Uber and then like I get in the Uber and they're immediately like, are you with the band? And I'm like, it's working. I'm wearing all the right things. and then
how often does that happen? I mean, it has to happen all the time.
It's like great for starting small conversation, like not so great like in the pickup line, like getting the kids from school.
Sure.
Because then they're like, oh God, who's this flunky that's trying to steal these kids right now?
Yeah. It's like, I promise I'm employed.
Yeah. I promise. I don't know how, but I am. So that's how I would describe us is a loud rock and roll band. So if you like loud rock and roll music, I think you would like our band too.
So you mentioned there are other people that would say otherwise. What's something that somebody maybe meant as an insult that you actually took as a compliment? Maybe personally or with the band, where somebody said something and he was like, actually, I'm glad that you think that.
Ooh,
it's
good.
Funny. We were making, the first place my mind goes to is we were making a record. We've done 2 records with Eric Valentine because we're the luckiest people that I know.
Wow.
And one of the records with Eric, we were doing the vocals and he just stopped and goes, you know, I don't think I'm going to go so much for perfection here as I am vibe, you know, he was basically saying, you're not singing it right, but it's working. And and at that time I was real conflicted because I'm like, oh, I got to do better. But then I was like, wait, but I think I'm doing it right. And then I just kind of realized like, there's this thing of I could do what I do, and I could I don't need to exist in this world to where like a television show like The Voice or something, you know, like I don't care too much for that world. Like what I'm always attracted to, and I like think something that I bring to the table is that like I'm not going to like sing something or do something if I'm not like, if I can't really internalize it and make it my own. Yeah. And then I guess like a easier, shorter way to say it was like more of like, he'd be like, I'm just going for personality, not so much ability, which at first really hurt. But then I realized, wait a minute, like that's what I like. So it explains why that's how I would try to operate.
Okay. So sidebar, if you had to be on The Voice, like what would you like, have you ever thought about it? Like what would you actually sing if you had to be on a singing contest show? And you can't pick one of your own songs, and you can't pick, you have to divert from your genre.
I would try to do something like Sam Cooke or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, cause he's like my favorite. Like he's one of the, like he's in the top 10.
Yeah.
Always. So I would try to do something like that.
Send people to Sam Cooke. What album do they need to go to? Send them.
Oh my, if you're going there and like, you're looking for the good stuff, there's like so many of those. And like this, I already know the people in my life that'll be like, why did you say that? But there was just go like to one of his essential, like Sam Cooke essential collections. Cause they're like real good in the sense that they give you like you realize just how many giant hits he had and like how influential he was. And then after that, then you go into the deep dive. Cause there's some of like the slower, like, dance and slow jams, you know, that take a little longer to warm up to for me.
Sure. Man, I feel like I'd have to go for exactly what Eric Valentine told you. I'd have to go for vibe, you know, not perfection. I'd probably do a Killers song. I'd probably just get up there and Brandon Flowers my way through it. Speaking of Las Vegas.
Oh man.
That's probably what I do. That's my go-to karaoke stuff.
My go-to karaoke is always Whitney Houston, which is just, dude, she's the best.
Yeah.
But there's with the Killers thing, there was a tour, you know, like that we did. This was years ago now, but they our twin friend was with us and had to go. He had to leave the tour because there's like family stuff. So we're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? We have to fill all this time. And then we had other guys that were on the tour from other bands fill in, but you know, we didn't want to expect anybody to learn like a whole set's worth of songs in a day. So I would come out and I played a couple songs acoustic, just kind of to kill time. And when You Were Young was one of the acoustic things I did. And still, like when I pick up a acoustic now, like that's kind of like I like still go to that song. I just love that record.
It's a hymn at this point, I think. You know, like it's in the rock and roll hymnal. I would put them down. I mean, they're one of my favorites, which is why I go to them for a karaoke night because I know I can get away with it because I can put on a show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can entertain the people.
Yeah. Put us in the Eric Valentine space also. So Eric Valentine has done quite a bit of work.
Yes.
But sell Eric Valentine to us like it's the first time of us hearing about him.
Have you seen like Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, I have.
Yes, of course.
I have.
Okay, so Lord of the Rings, and then like when he's so there's Gandalf, right? Yeah. That's kind of Eric when it comes to recording. He's a wizard. He's brilliant. Like his father, you know, was like an actual rocket scientist, and he has a very similar brain. Like he's the kind of guy that, you know, like he got tired of walking to the live room to move a microphone. So we built a robot. And like what's like a common thing, you'll just see like a remote controlled robot that'll go to the cab, you know, like, and then no, like, he's one of the first guys that just built it.
Is that for real?
And then
is that a real story?
Yeah. Yeah. He had this because when he had Barefoot, the like live room there, like, you know, you have to get up, walk out of the control room, go around to the live room, move the little thing, go all the way back. And then, so he just built a robot and put a little camera on it. And then, but it's, and two, he's just really, and like, that's kind of one of the reasons I enjoyed working with him so much was because he has a very intentional approach to everything.
Yeah.
And then like, cause like a lot of producers are like real good at like the bird's eye, but working with him was more like, you know, you got like the Hubble telescope.
That's amazing.
I mean, I personally don't have one, but
I would like to be complimented that way someday.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Like a Hubble telescope. Man.
He too, like I like called him not too long ago. Just to say hello. And then he was like, I'm like, hey man, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, well, I found this little console. It's from like, you know, like it was from like the 50s. It's like a CBS console or some shit.
Yeah.
Some stuff. And he was just in his basement bringing it back to life. And I'm like, of course that's what you're doing.
Of course.
But he just did a Grace Potter record. That I bet is going to sound fantastic.
As they all do.
Well, I know it's going to sound fantastic.
Yeah.
But then you have her writing the songs, Get Out of Town.
Yeah. I like the word that you used, intentional. And that feels like a lot of Grace Potter records, but at the same time, it feels like a lot of Taking Back Sunday records where I'm listening and I feel like there is no wasted space, you know, like every moment means something. And I feel like the result is that it kind of creates like a captivating moment between the heart and the mind, which I feel like you guys are really good at. And is that why you like working with this certain producer, with Eric?
That's why I like working with the other guys that I get to be in a band with, because they like everybody, you know, like when we're writing, that's like that is in the forefront of everyone's mind, and we're like kind of like we just kind of are finishing up like the writing kind of process for and so like we've very much been in that world with one another, or like that headspace, and that's like it's like real. I mean, like it can be a challenge at times, but anything that's good, it is. But just to know that like you're working with people that are as careful as you are.
Yeah.
And it is a real, like it makes you stand a little taller, you know?
Yeah. So when you are writing, like what inspires new music, you know, I know obviously like we're always listening to music, whether it's, you know, decades old, just come out, you know, there's a lot of things that inspire us to pick up the guitar and start writing. But what else inspires you? What gets your gears going for new stuff, new material?
New materials.
What lights the fire? Talk us through the fodder. It's
lately it's been like I've like been on this kick, like just older movies, because the dialogue. Something changed around like the late 70s or 60s.
Yeah.
And then so like anything kind of like mid to late 60s and before, I've been finding like a lot of inspiration in, because there was like, I don't know if this is true or not, but it just seemed like there was, folks just had like a different way of talking that's real attractive to me. And then like I've been finding a lot of inspiration through that, because then it kind of switches my brain also from this kind of now just world that we're living in, you know, like it's more I feel like, and though this might not be true for that time, but to me, and in my experience, it feels like a lot of these days it's quantity over quality.
Sure.
And then to whereas then, like for a movie that's 60 or 70 years old to still be poking its head out, that's quality over quantity. And so I find a lot of inspiration there. And then like lately,
hold on, can I stop you? Put some language around that. What is the difference about the way that the maybe the screenplay is, or the dialogue that really pulls you in?
So take like or just like a big one like Casablanca, right?
Great.
So like or like everybody knows that one. But they're walking this line in my mind between like movie, like film house, like picture, or like theater and radio broadcast. So they're like, you can, as you're like going through those years, you can really see when they're like, oh, we don't need to rely so heavily on this dialogue here because we now have a visual for it. And then you see, oh, we don't have to read like we don't have the same restraints as we would in a theater, like in like a play or something. So we can maybe stretch this dialogue out a little more here. Like, and then just the way, just like the use of the language, is so like, because I feel like with old like radio broadcasts or like radio shows, which it isn't on anymore, but it's like a real like great example is like Prairie Home Companion, which later became like Live from Here or something. Yeah, the dude from Nickel Creek that shreds the
Chris
mandolin.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God.
I don't. That's how I'd say it in my head.
Yeah.
He is the best. There, but so but like something like that, they you had to like keep somebody listening, you had to choose your words carefully. And then I guess it goes back to intention. Maybe everything goes back to that.
Yeah. So I grew up listening to Prairie Home Companion, and I kind of think that that's what's right and what's wrong with me at the same time. And so
what do you mean?
I became really fixated as a teenager on this northern Minnesota dry, dark humor. And even like I got some of Garrison Keillor's books as Christmas presents from my family. And the sub headline here is I have lots of family up in St. Paul in Minneapolis. And so that's kind of where the draw and the hookup from that comes from.
Right.
I also was behind him in a bookstore when I was in St. Paul, and he is huge. He's like 8 feet tall. It's amazing.
Oh, wow.
I've never
larger
listened to
than
this.
life.
Yeah. But
everything you always wanted.
And Live from Here is so great. I mean, it's still going, isn't it? Is Live from Here still going?
I have never listened to Prairie. I'm lost right now. Yeah.
I think that they sometime during the pandemic, they stopped doing it. And then they might have started it back up, but I haven't heard any new episodes in a while.
That is so funny that you pulled that out. Okay, thanks for exploding.
I can see your excitement.
Yeah, thanks for exploding inspiration for new. So what's the same and what's different about the new record coming out that you're working on?
The thing that's the same is that it's us, and I feel like when you get the four of us playing together, it's just always gonna sound like Taking Back Sunday, because I sound the way I do and I make the choices that I do, and same with the other guys.
Yeah.
But it's a thing that I'm really proud of that we've done is that each record is a real good snapshot and like very true to the people that we were at that period of time.
Yeah.
And there's and then so with that said, that's kind of what we're venturing to. I think with this new record, there's a lot of different kind of just sounds and things that I think we're a lot more open to now that we're experimenting with. And it's like through that, like it just swings open these double doors, you know, and then it's like, oh, I could use an 808. Well, check this out, you know, like, thing, like, yeah, but have you heard it through this, like, kind of thing? And then so we've been doing like a whole lot of that, and it's like real interesting too, because the way I like feel we've also been very fortunate because, you know, like when we started touring, like back in the Ford Windstar days, like there was the way that records were made then is very different from the way that records are made now. Even from in the past, like, I mean, you know, 6, 7 years, like it's changed so much. And then so even just kind of getting our heads around like this kind of new way of making a record has been real not only like a learning experience, but also like it's freed us up a lot.
So speaking of the way recording is changing, what are we keeping that you love, and what are we losing? You know, like what's changing that's super positive, and what do we need to go back and hold on to?
Even as I learn more, like on like the engineering side and all of that, there's this thing of like not a lot of people lean too heavily on, you know, spending 2 days like getting a cool kick drum sound. Which is like good and bad.
Sure.
It's good because you can work much faster, and it's bad because it's just not as fun. Right. And then, but there's there's like some guys like really like I like think his name is Sean Everett, like that Brittany Howard record. Have you listened to that Brittany Howard record? It came out a couple years ago now. Or like a thing that we've seen is like for a while, people had a really hard time like really leaning into technology, which, to put it in like context, like with your world, you know, like I would imagine like, oh, well, that's a digital signal path. I don't want anything to do with it. Like that, like that kind of thing. Yeah. And then it's this, to where then you get to this realization of like, no, wait a second, like, look what we can do with this technology. That's what this whole thing's been about the whole time. You know, like there was even like, you go back to like Beach Boys, Beatles, like stuff like that. Like they were like pushing boundaries, you know, they were like really leaning into the tech. And then like, so that like, I feel is something that we've been adjusting to, that I think is really cool, is that there's just so much that you can do and build, you know, like through the technology that you couldn't before. And then like the biggest thing that I think is like making sure that at the end of the day, you can just sit down with an acoustic guitar and it can still stand up on its own, just as a song, you know?
Yeah.
And I like think if you can balance both of those things, then you're on to something.
Totally. And would you say that it's maybe there's more songs per artist these days, or more songs per capita coming out because of the
quantity over quality?
Yeah.
Or quality over quantity.
Yes.
I mean,
yeah. For like better or worse, I think that is what's going on, because that's just how people are having to work these days. Yeah. You know, like there's like most times, like I was talking to a buddy of mine who's a producer, and he was telling me like how like a normal day for him goes, and like when he's like writing with people, and it's couldn't be more different than it was, say, you know, like when like our first 4 records came out, you know. It's like, so it's and I think that's good, and I also think it's bad. Like I found for me, like, because we've implemented like kind of like working that way, like when we're writing, it like started kind of as a just kind of an experiment to see what it would be like, and then it turned into something that works really well for us. Or like, for instance, I would spend just like every hour of the day for months just going over the words and making sure everything's right and changing little melody things to make sure that like the emphasis is in the right spot and like all that. And there were a lot of times that I feel like the song suffered for it. When it worked so good. But when it didn't work, it really did. Like it was there was very little middle ground. So whereas when you're working that way now, you know, it's like you don't have the time to like question it like that. You just have to throw it out there and go, you know.
Which there's something, I think there's something good about that sometimes, you know, when there's a degree of like pressure's off, like just what do you sound like this year, you know? Boom, there it is. And maybe like the pressure to try to write these, you know, these huge, you know, stream sensations, you know, could lessen off a little bit, and then people could just, you know, maybe release more content. But then at the same time, the energy that goes into writing a song is the energy that goes into writing a song and putting it together. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't like, oh, I can, you know, I have finite energy. And so, you know, I mean, it is harder at the same time. So I don't know. I think there's good things about it. And there's, you know, we're losing things, but we're gaining things at the same time, which is history.
It's history, man. Well, it's like funny because it's like very similar to like how, like, I feel like with a lot of popular music, like things that you would hear on the radio, like it's like it's very similar to how it was done, like, or like you look to like Motown or something, you know, like very like single heavy, like, or like that's what everybody's focusing on, to where then we got this great period of time to where like it was like real album heavy, you know, but now it's kind of back. It's all cyclical, you know.
I feel like it's TikTok and Reels. It's just, you know, that's what's, I feel like that's something that's very recent. No?
Like you're thinking like,
it was like
now
albums
we're focused on like singles and EPs and TikToks and Reels and things like that. Yeah.
Now it's just, you get a good single and you're set.
Yeah. But if your single goes viral on TikTok, boom!
Like for me, I just can't help but thinking, I'm like, man, we are in the experiment right now. They're going to write books about how this is affecting our brains right now. Yeah. It's going to be insane.
Yeah.
Spotify.
Yeah.
TikTok.
I'm getting started.
I leave my phone on. I leave my phone on Do Not Disturb at all times during the day. So
that is true.
Yeah. So it's just like a sanity piece I have to do, and I do Wordle right around 2:00. So
it's good to have a schedule.
Yeah,
I found there's like the phone. Yeah, like I have to, like there's times to where I have to make a real hard, conscious effort to stay off it. Like, or like with social media, like I have a really strange relationship with it. Because it's like there's, you know, like I don't know like what's best for anybody. Other
why don't
than
you
like,
just take a good guess though? Tell us what's best. Tell us what's best for everybody.
I have a good idea, but I have a pretty good idea like what's best for me, and like knowing myself. I can't let all that in, right? Because I have trouble processing it all, and then my focus goes so heavy that way. I already have an addictive personality, so it's just bad. And it's like that struggle's real, and it sounds so dumb to say it out loud. Like I'm a grown man, I should be able to figure that out.
I think you're onto something. You know, like we're physically not designed to take in like world news, you know, maybe world headlines, but just like the weight of the things that are happening in the world. Like we're just not designed to carry the burden of those things. And really, I feel like what it does is it sometimes like being aware and being mindful and looking at your certain local scenario in the context of like the global economy is important. But if it starts to detract from what's happening right in front of you, and that is your sphere of influence, is where you physically are. And if you're not able to make positive impacts on your physical space with the people that you are around, then yeah, we got to unplug, and we got to figure out how we can be a bonus add to the rooms that we walk into. You know what I mean?
I really like how you worded that. I think that's great.
Okay, great. Well, I'll come on your podcast and say it that way. That's fine.
I don't have a podcast, and it's because I oftentimes can't articulate like you just did.
Oh,
he's good at it.
Well, hey, so speaking of tour, what is tour? Just real quick, what's tour look like today versus your first tour? I think this is a fun question.
Yeah.
Well, when we started, we were in a Ford Windstar. It was a white Ford Windstar. It was like shaped on, like right when that kind of era of like dustbuster shaped vans were going away. And then, we were in there, and then we got a trailer, and then now we're fortunate enough we get to travel on the buses, which makes everything much easier.
Yeah.
There's a lot of and like, that's like a give and take too. Cause there's a lot of like, I remember, or like, cause we had a little bit after our first record came out, we graduated to a 15 passenger van. It was a forest green, cause that's the Thinking Man's color.
Oh, yeah.
And then
I had the same one.
Thinking Man green.
Yeah.
That's at Home Depot.
We were driving through, we were going somewhere like in the Pacific Northwest, and it was like 2 a.m, and everybody was awake, and it was just driving through mountains, and it was unlike anything we had ever seen. We're from the East Coast, and me and like the Blue Ridge Mountains are some of my favorites, but this was just something else. It felt like another planet.
Yeah.
So you kind of miss stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then again, you're not tired all the time, just some of the time. Yeah. Which is really nice.
Yeah, you mentioned a schedule earlier. Did you have to adopt a schedule eventually through the tours to say like my body and my mind need a schedule to follow, or have you always been like that?
I still struggle with that, because what I have learned about myself is that I like really thrive with the schedule, but there's this other part of me that grew up listening to, music that or like, hey, the man, screw you, kind of thing. Like, I don't need a schedule. I don't need anything. And then so there's still some of that's ingrained in me, so I have a hard time. Like, that's one of the things I wrestle with myself, is holding myself accountable to that schedule. Cause there's still that like kid in me that's like, nah, you don't need anybody, blah,
I have a similar struggle, but mine's just fear of missing out. I'm like, man, I would love to have a schedule,
FOMO?
but y'all are going to stay up late, and I could miss something. So I'm staying up.
Same.
Off. Yeah.
Same.
I have JOMO, GOMO. I'm glad of missing out.
Oh man.
Like, if I found out that
wish
people
I
are
had
like,
glad of missing out.
People are like, hey, we're getting together tonight. It's like, we got together last night, and they're like, good. I got really good sleep.
It's like, I hope you guys had the best time, because I'm so glad I wasn't there.
Yeah. I would wake up and just, I would be so sad I missed out on everything. So I think
it depends on who it is. I probably only have a very small number of actual like real friends. So, and if you're listening right now, it's you.
You're one of them.
You are for sure
lucky people.
For sure one of them. But anybody outside of that sphere, I think I would be like, it's fine. You're good. I'm good. Hey, what's a question that you wish I would have asked you? This will be our going out. Also, before you answer that question, did you see my mug? You didn't say anything. You see this mug right here?
No, I can't see it. You're gonna have to switch to camera 2. Oh snap! Is that the Adam Lazzara mug?
Hell yeah! I've been sipping on it all.
That is sipping on my amazing.
Earl
it
Grey.
makes me so happy. Well, when we were there, I
you drank out of it.
Yeah. They were like,
this guy Philip.
Can we get you some like coffee or water? And then like it gave it to me in that mug, and I thought, you know what? There's a reason why I like these people, and that's one of them. I knew it.
Well, it keeps making an appearance. So, what's a question you wish I would have asked you?
I like all of the questions you asked. I liked how, it wasn't stuff like, where'd you get the band name? Because then I have to be like, yo, I wasn't in the band when it was named. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then for like years, I just told people it was a Morrissey B-side. And then, oh my goodness, the conversations that came out of that I saw, it was so great. And because like nobody could find it, I'm like, I know, because I made that shit up, son. And there's yeah. Good. So I thought this was great, and I really appreciate you guys taking time to talk with me, or that you would want to. I'm a huge fan of what you guys do over there, and anytime we talk or anything, you're just always so just like kind and genuine people, which there's unfortunately, you know, like it's easy to run into the opposite of that doing what we do. And so I just really appreciate you, and I'm happy that you would want to spend some time with me.
Well, man, that means a lot. Thanks for saying that. You're really nice.
Big fan.
I appreciate it.
Only on the weekends. You guys caught me on a good day.
I get it. Yeah, we caught you on a Friday, so that's fantastic.
It counts.
Is it Friday?
It's Friday. Yeah.
Cool.
Hey, well, I mean, straight back at you. We like to work with people who are really skilled and people who are innovators, but at the same time have high caliber of character and interesting, wonderful things happening on the insides of their souls. So that's why you're here. I love you. I'm really thankful for you.
For saying that.
Thanks for being on the...
Thankful for you guys.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being on the show today. And last thing, where do you want to send people to digest more of the things that you put out? Send them.
Well, you can check us out at www.takingbacksunday.com to find for upcoming shows and things of that nature. We have great merch. There's, and it helps us feed our kids. And, you know, I don't really have too much of too many things to plug. We're just working on that new music now. We're on tour with our buddies, and life is good, you know.
Cute. I love it. All right. Well, thanks for being on the show today,
Thank you, Adam.
Love you.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Same
Love
time, same place tomorrow.
I hope you have a great day. Yeah. Yeah. I will be here. You know what?
We'll
Tomorrow we're going to be at Pappy and Harriet's, which is right outside of Joshua Tree. And all these years, I've never been to Joshua Tree. So I'm really excited.
That's
awesome. So when we talk tomorrow, we'll be in Pioneer Town. I'll have a bunch of cool things to show you. Rather than inside of this nice air-conditioned arena in Las Vegas, we'll just be out in the desert. Maybe find a horse to be scared of.
Awesome. Pack your board shorts, everybody. We're gonna be outside. Fantastic.
It's gonna be nice.
All right. I love you. I'll see you later.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.